are joining, they have not introduced themselves right now
Oh,
because
okay. All right. All right, that's okay. That's okay. So I would like to start with the introduction, and in introduction, I only want your name, and then second question: are you currently working as a business analyst somewhere? Okay, if yes, just like I'm work. So my name is X. I'm working as a business analyst with this company. And third thing I want to know: currently, you guys are practicing agile or just the traditional waterfall methodology. Okay, so these are the three things that I would like to know. And if you are not working as a business analyst, then the other thing I want to know, like if you are working in IT, basically IT side or the business side of the house, and are related to the or your work, what you do, that end result in IT development. Okay, so as a project manager, if you are working, whatever your role is, just like my name is this and I'm working as it is, I am in IT. And then what is your what you are looking to get out of this like short session. So I that's what I would like to know, and the reason, so that I will put relevant examples that will be easier for you guys to understand. That is the purpose of that introduction. Okay, so with that said, I will first introduce myself. Okay, so all right. So my name is Mohammed. I am working as a senior product manager and agile coach. Have a business system analysis background with a healthcare company called Sullivan Carter. What we do, we provide various benchmarking solution to different medical practices and hospitals. That's what we do. So I have been working as an agile coach for almost 8-9 years now. I'm certified agile coach, and as a business analyst, I'm working for more than 10 years now. So I have worked in healthcare industry a major part of my career, and I have worked with the financial industry. Like I have worked with U.S. Bank. That is one of the biggest bank in Midwest, and I have worked with Wells Fargo. That is another like a bigger bank in Midwest specifically, but it's in California side too, and in South side too. So that's a little bit about me. So I would like one by one, if you guys can start, that will be really great. And just like if you're not able to unmute yourself, sometimes this tool that we use, it give that problem. So the trick is you get out of the meeting and rejoin the same link, then it will let you unmute.
Hello, this is Pramod here. Uh, able to hear me?
Yes, Pramod.
Yes.
Okay. So I am from India, Chennai, and I am working as a Scrum Master and also ABA for one of the project, Agile Business Analyst role I am playing for Renault Nissan Manufacturing Company. So we are practicing Agile Scrum for almost 4 years now in the company. So we have been doing this. This is my background. Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay,
Pramod.
and my name is Himanika, and right now I'm working in an IT company as a business development manager. And yeah, we work on agile method to manage projects.
Awesome.
And I'm
Welcome,
also
Himanshu.
from India, Rajasthan.
Welcome.
Hi,
Thank
this
you.
is Sunny. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. I work as a business analyst in American Airlines. We just started with a new project using agile methodology. Thank you.
Okay.
Welcome.
My name is Raj Mishra, and I'm from Punjab, India. Uh, my role is like I'm doing like mix of all stuff. I'm working as a business analyst, come product owner. Same time, I'm Scrum Master for this project. And apart from that, I also do agile coaching for my team, or maybe the same vertical. Some other teams are there, so I do agile coaching as well as in terms of team management, and on the project I work as a product owner as the same time Scrum Master. And the company I'm working with is SCL Technology, but I'm working on client location Caterpillar. Thank you.
Okay. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hi, this is Sanya here. I'm working as business analyst for HCL Technologies, and we are following agile methodology. Currently, I'm working for an Australian client, that is Schneider Electric. So I'm based out of Bangalore, India. Thank you.
Hello. Yeah, I'm Naman Kamdar. I'm from Ahmedabad, Gujarat, and I'm working as a business analyst with EasyVerse Technologies, and we do follow Agile. Thank you.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Yes, my name is Obed. I'm from DRC. I work as a software development. Thank you.
Everyone. My name is Kishan, and presently I'm working as a project associate with Agria Solutions. This is based in Noida, it's India. So this is fun. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Fabio Santos. I am customer support manager in a software company. I want to transition my career to agile coach. Thank you.
Hi, myself. My name is Rikutan. I'm from Bangalore, and I work as a functional consultant at Oracle. Audible?
Yeah, you're audible. So.
Yeah, fine. So I think we can.
All right. So who's gonna next?
Hi, my name is Karan. I am currently working as a senior associate analyst with Tech Mahindra, but my role for my client is as a project manager. I am looking forward to learn Agile. Thank you.
Hi, this is Rakesh, and I'm from India. Currently living in Mumbai from South, but to be honest, we don't practice Agile. I'm not sure whether we practice or not because I work in the sales front, but I'm looking for transition. So I've been doing all the project management, certifications. I've done my Google project management as well as I'm doing my PMP right now. So I'm transitioning slowly towards I've done Scrum Masters, but not sure how to use it. Funny, but yeah. So I'm quite interested in learning more about Agile.
Awesome.
I'm working as a UX designer, and I'm looking forward to learn Agile. So yeah.
Welcome.
Hello, my name is Edsel. I work as a project manager in a digital firm in Bahrain, and we practice Agile. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Anybody left? So everybody got introduced.
I'm Sadi. I work as a business analyst in a MFS company in Bangladesh. It's basically the largest MFS company here, and we follow Agile in the project basis. Thank you.
Hello, this is Bashali Roy, and I'm pursuing MBA in business.
Welcome, Aishali. All right, so who's next? Okay, everybody got introduced. So last chance, if someone haven't yet, they can go ahead.
I think everybody is done and we can directly get into training now.
All right, thank you very much, everybody. Okay, so what I understood, the main, there are like a diverse group of people we have, and they are from business analysis to project manager management to aspirant who want to join the IT part of the house. There are people who are coming from like a traditional background, and there are who are coming from mixed background where they practice like agile as well as waterfall, and there are who are actively practicing agile. So that's what I got the idea. So what I'm gonna start with today, first I'm gonna start going over traditional methodology for development. Okay, and this training is although agile practices can be implemented basically any type of work, either it's like marketing or sales or any type of work, the agile practices and principles can be implemented for that. Okay, but in our current training, we will be focusing more on IT side of the house, software development, how we practice agile for software development. That would be our focus, and the role that we will be focusing on, that is the business analyst role. Okay, so I will talk about the other roles too, but not in detail. I will talk about the business analyst role. Okay, and the other thing is all my experience that is in the US, working in the US, so mostly references would be to that practices that we do in US. Okay, so at the end you will be given chance to ask any question that comes up in your mind. We will discuss that question and I will try to answer that. Okay, so that would be the plan for today, and I will try to make it short, to the point, and make it short and sweet, that I usually say. So let's start with how the work is being done in industry, what are the current work trends. Okay, all the big companies, they develop themselves by doing the way, you can say, the work way they're doing in form of projects. Okay, so now just for the brainstorming, so companies has like kind of company level executives. Okay, C-level leadership. Okay, all right, so let me make it clear. They have level leadership. Okay, they want to know how things what they do. They give the company vision and strategic advisory, which end up in what? Company having some strategic themes. Okay, so these are some guidelines, these are the company's strategic theme. Okay, so that's what the higher level leadership, when they give a vision to the company, that this year that our vision is to do this, our strategic theme should be these. Okay, so these are the guidelines. Based on these strategic themes, then the next level of C-level leadership and plus, next level leadership, they come up with the from the strategic team, that development strategy they need to adopt to achieve those strategic themes or strategic goals. Okay, and that development strategy then links to basically each department has their own strategy. Okay, departmental strategy. Okay, and from the department strategy, when they implement their strategy, there comes the pieces of work that they need to do to achieve that, like strategic goals. Okay, and those pieces of work, they turns those pieces of work into projects. Okay, and mostly those pieces of work, for example, maybe it's like a sales say, like, currently we are doing this process manually. Okay, it can be any CRM process, or it can be any process they are doing. Maybe they are just like the email aggregation, something is not happening. Okay, and they have to send out like five email. The leader has to send like a 5 email to those people who are working with her or him. Okay, so they want some solution to kind of automate it, or they should have a dashboard where they can just, like, whatever the email comes, they can just tag it and it should appear over there. They can tag the person, they can assign that as a task, something they want it to be automated. What they will do, okay, all right, we need IT help for that, and they will do initiate a project. They will put a project request for IT that, hey, currently this is what we have, and we want to do this and this. Okay, so likewise, now imagine big organization has a lot of department. Each department, if you have, like, maybe 100 projects, like every year, then if there is 10 department, then it would be like 1,000 project. Okay, and if they are working the company is like a 10-year-old, or they are doing their IT maybe 10-15 years, then IT is not able to complete all the projects. Like if they want 1,000 things, they might be able to give them, like, maybe 300 things. Okay, and then there will be 700 things, they will be in the project pipeline. Okay, so likewise, they will have the companies literally has thousands and thousands of projects in the project pipeline. So this is how basically the project come into existence, and basically project work arises basically. Okay, so this is what the project is and how the work is being created. Okay, then next when comes to the one project, and what happens, like the leadership from the business operation side and the leadership from the IT side, they the question is, when they decide the IT will do this project, okay, and will not do this project, when they decide that. So both the leadership IT side as well as business side, they sit together and they go over the project backlog, the pipeline they have, and then basically business prioritize because the business has the funds and budget for that, and they have to provide the budget for that projects. Okay, IT have to just execute and deliver that project. So they both sit together, decide what projects they need to absolutely need in next year. Sometime yearly planning, sometime like 6-month planning, and sometimes some companies, depends on the nature of business they do. If it is a retail company, they might be doing like a kind of 6-month planning or maybe quarterly planning. So in that planning, they meet and prioritize, and based on that priority, IT do the commitment that, hey, we will this top 100 project we will be delivering it this year, or maybe if it's the IT organization is the big, maybe delivering this next quarter. Okay, this is how a project come from the business side of the house to IT side of the house. And when it comes to the IT side of the house, then they need a methodology, a framework, basically. Okay, they need a framework to how to do that basically project. Okay, so it can framework I usually recommend, because it's like make more sense. Methodology it confuses, but methodology or framework, it can be both can be uses. So either they execute the project or deliver that project or work on by traditional methodology, which is also called waterfall, traditional or waterfall. Okay, and this is like a, we will talk more about the waterfall. This is a phase gated methodology, means there are phases, and you have to finish one phase before you start the next phase. Okay, the other framework they set of framework they use Agile. Okay, and in Agile mostly Scrum framework, or they do sometime Scaled Agile. Okay, so but we will be only focusing on a Scrum framework today. Okay, so this is making sense so far. I hope so. All right, so basically IT choose what framework, and this is mostly organization wide. Some organization can be like kind of in middle, like they are using some of the part of the organization still in waterfall. Some for the part they move toward or transform towards like an Agile. But every organization, if it is like a 10-15 year older, it was established before 15 year, then they are definitely were using waterfall. And they have if they are currently using Agile, they are being transformed from waterfall to Agile. Okay, so that is basically like how the organization choose what framework to like take on. But this is organized, all you guys know, this is organized wide decision by the IT leadership, that what framework for development they have to use. Okay, and this is not a team level decision, it is like organization level decision. So let's now talk about waterfall framework first, or methodology. Okay, so before talking to that, so project has basically you can say these 3 phases, or four phases sometime. Okay, and this definition is kind of extracted bookish definition, and more kind of practical definition. The initiation and also this is for your understanding, to build your knowledge base, basically, like so project is a piece of work which has a starting point and ending point. That is the simplest definition of a project. Okay, it is not a work that is going on and going on and going on, or like a infinite work. It's not like that. Project, whenever you say I'm doing this project at the house, or this, that means some piece of work you will start and finish. It is like common sense definition. And in project, the first part of the project is initiation, means where the idea comes, and then based on that idea you decide that you want to do the project. You gather necessary or plan necessary resources. Okay, so or you put a project request and get that project funded. Okay, all that comes under the initiation, and then comes the planning part. After the project is being decided that they need to do this, and when I say decided, that means the project is being requested and approved by finance team, and the project has some funding approval assigned to it. Then it is being okay. All right, now project is ready for the planning. Okay, and when the project is approved, and after that, as we discussed previously, that when project get approved, they been decided on the business operations side and then put into the project pipeline. And when IT leadership team and business leadership team meet, they put priority on it, and based on the priority, IT, if it is a high priority, and then IT decide to put in their backlog of work, and give them a delivery date that this is when it would be delivered. Okay, when that happens, then it comes to the IT side of the house, and in IT side of the house, the first person who is being assigned to that project is project manager. Okay, IT project manager. That is the first person who gets assigned to that project, and that IT project management start project planning. Okay, so in the project planning, basically I will briefly go over the role, what the IT project management do, and what she does in the planning. So what she does, she does all the resource planning, and in those resource means how many people they need, as well as how much equipment they need, hardware, software resources, as well as human resource planning overall. Okay, and that comes the resource planning. And the other planning the IT project manager does, that is planning for that particular project, that how budgetary planning, it comes under that. And then comes like timeline planning, like when the project will start and when it will be done, what phase will happen at what date, to put a timeline for that project. So that is kind of overall a high level picture, like what the project manager do. So as the planning is being done, and there are definitely multiple touch point for approval in different basically phases of planning that a project manager does. So you guys can kind of visualize those. So after get everything approved, budgetary approval, and the timeline set up, as well as resource planning, and identifying the resources, hiring people, all those, when it is ready, then comes like the next part of execution. And execution is being done using a framework, waterfall. We will talk about waterfall first. And there, the first person in the execution, when execution is done, that start with IT project manager. Okay, so as the project management, the planning is done, the next phase in there is basically business analysis. Next phase is overall in the waterfall framework, planning, and then analysis. And in the analysis, the first part is business analysis, and business analysis means a business analyst, that is the part of the IT team member who start working on that business analysis. And what is that business analysis? The business analysis means that business analyst sit with the operational side of the house, identify the stakeholder from like who needed that project, who would be the user of that functionality that will come out of that project. So identify that resources, and then schedule session with them, requirement session, to gather what they really need. Okay, and documents all nitty-gritty details. that of their need for that particular project. Okay, so that is basically the job of IT business analyst in traditional methodology. And in a traditional cycle, as a BA, if you will start, your job is first, let's do it in this way. So imagine you started as a business analyst and they are doing work traditionally. Okay, so where you will start with? So you will first you will join. They're giving you your laptop and a few other trainings. If somebody have done BA work or any like corporate work, they will clearly understand what I'm talking about. So they will give you your laptop, get it set up. They will have you onboarded basically. That during the onboarding, they will, if there are certain training, certain like organizational training are related to that project training is needed before you start the work, they will, somebody will help you with that, and they will let you know you will be working on this particular project. So you will get project assigned. Okay, so that will happen during the first week when you join as a BA. Okay, so all that we discussed, it should be in your mind already, so you will know what already been happened. Okay, and what already been happened means there is a project, it is funded, and planning work, project management planning work is already being done. Okay, so you should know all that. Then you will know where to start. Okay, so the first step to start with, you need to understand what that project is. When you been told that you will be working on that, you need to understand what the project is. To understand, the best thing is like work with the project manager, get where the documentation is, because project manager should be already there and should have started all those tasks that the project manager do. So one task of the project manager is also to put all put a SharePoint site or a shared drive where to he or she put all the documentation. Okay, and those documentation from the project request document that comes from the first document that the business operations submit to put a request, along with like the funding approval and all those. So all those tasks or activities that happen, there would be some documentation of that. Okay, so but for a BA, your interest is to look for the project request document first, so that you will get the basic understanding what that project is about. And project request document, or sometimes we also like as a standard called it like project charter. Okay, so that as a kind of a standard template, universally, it has introduction of that, the project, what it's the background, and it will have a problem statement or opportunity statement, that what the problem they are having or what the opportunity they want to grasp. It will also have a list of stakeholders too. It will have impact like other business impacted business segment information, and it will also define what is in scope and what is out of scope, and some budgetary guideline or some other thing. So basically it will have this information, and your information of interest is to understanding what that project about, introduction, as well as like then the next your usually everything is like of your interest, problem and opportunity statement understanding, so that you would be able to understand the high level requirement that what they are asking, and then a list of stakeholders that you also need to start with. Okay, so you get some of the name, and mostly in the list of stakeholders. So now see, because this document was prepared very initially. Okay, so stakeholder can change definitely. When it was written, they might have only written the business operation side of the stakeholder, that's it. Okay, and there might be more stakeholder, but this is the point where you will start. You will take this list and will go to basically your project manager, because project manager is doing planning, and when he is doing planning, he is also working with the stakeholders. So he or she should have a list too, and that would be most accurate and up-to-date list that are the stakeholder. So if you will go with the list to the project manager and then take that what he has, after that you need to basically identify the stakeholders. You need to identify that who are the stakeholder for this particular project. So you will get a little understanding of what the project is about and what is the high level understanding. So you will have something to start with. Okay. And then you need to identify the stakeholders. The third task that you do after that schedule a meeting with the stakeholder for requirement gathering sessions. Okay, so you need to gather and document that requirements for that particular project. So this information that you will have from the documentation, it will be high level information. Okay, and your job is to starting from the high level information to get into nitty gritty details and document all the details that basically business operation they need for that particular project. And in traditionally you prepare also a document that out of that business requirement document activity that we usually call business requirement document or BRD. So this is the traditional way of doing work as a business analyst in the traditional environment. Okay, and then definitely after the BA work is done, BRD done, then system analysis starts. So system analysts prepare a system specification document, design document, and then development will happen. Development will develop that solution, and when the development is complete, then the testing phase will start. Tester will execute all the test cases and complete the project testing. And after that, before deployment, there is a user acceptance testing activity where those stakeholders test the software what they have requested and accepted that this is what they need, and then it is being deployed for wherever it is needed. Okay, so this is overall waterfall way of doing job as a BA. Okay, so now we will start talking about that agile framework. Okay, so before we will talk about agile framework, I'm gonna basically play an introductory video. Okay, so what is agile, to give you concept, and when you are listening that video, you also need to keep in your mind basically what we have discussed working as a in a traditional methodology. Keep in back of the mind and then listen this agile introductory video. After that I will go over the role of a BA in agile. Okay, and then we will sum up to move towards question answers. So also one more thing, keep your questions ready, and if you are any questions come, write it down. Okay, all right, so this is agile introductory video. I'm playing started.
To be competitive in today's fast-moving marketplace, organizations need to drive innovation in every part of their business. As a result, more and more companies are embracing agile development as a viable development methodology that delivers customer value faster in both information technology and across key business units. But what is agile? What does it do? And how does it live in an organization alongside traditional development practices? Well, to answer these questions, let's meet Mary, the owner of a small toy store with great products and clientele. Her store is so successful and popular that she'd like to start selling her toys online. As part of this effort, she wants to modernize the infrastructure of the store to support further growth. The problem is that Mary isn't sure how to manage this expansion. The two projects don't have a lot of similarities. Upgrading the store's infrastructure involves a number of different steps, and the infrastructure cannot be used until all of these steps are completed. Selling toys on the internet involves creating an online database than letting her customers buy toys on a website or smartphone application. Unlike the infrastructure, her online presence can be rolled out incrementally and expanded as needed. The two projects will have at least one common resource. Mary has hired Luke, an IT professional, to upgrade her infrastructure and design the website. Mary uses a single tool to manage the details of both projects from one place. She takes a look at what needs to be done and decides to work on the website first. Mary's not quite sure what her clientele expects from a toy store website, but does know that she wants to start as soon as possible. Given this, she decides to manage the website's development using Agile. Agile is a development mindset focused on delivering customer value. This means that if you work in an agile fashion, you mitigate risk by continually sharing your work with your customers in order to validate that what you are building is what they really want. To do this, Mary contracts with Rajesh, a product owner, who will work with a team to build the website using Agile Scrum. Agile Scrum produces the highest business value in the shortest time by developing products in an iterative, incremental manner. Each iteration or short development cycle is called a sprint. Each sprint is typically a few weeks long and involves requirements definition, product design, coding, and testing. The end result of every sprint is a potentially shippable product. So after the first sprint, Mary will have a live website that includes the functionality that she needs most. Each sprint after that will improve the website a bit more, incrementally building on top of each other. Prior to the first sprint, Rajesh meets with Mary. They use CA Agile Vision to document and manage her requirements in a product backlog. The product backlog outlines the project's timelines and priorities. Managing the product backlog is called backlog grooming. Requirements in Agile are called user stories because they are focused on what the customer or user needs. They are presented in a canonical form that emphasizes the customer. Once the product backlog is fully groomed, Rajesh starts a sprint planning meeting. Rajesh gathers his team together, and this includes Tammy, a Scrum Master, and the Scrum team. As Scrum Master, Tammy facilitates the sprint planning meeting. She also ensures that the project runs smoothly by removing any obstacles that prevent the team from doing their work. Rajesh presents the sprint's goal to Tammy and the Scrum team. The first sprint will focus on getting a basic website up and running so that Mary can start making money as soon as possible. The team reviews the prioritized product backlog and hones the user stories by asking the product owner for more details about them. They also size the stories in order to determine what stories will fit into the sprint. Tammy moves the high priority stories from the product backlog to the sprint backlog. The sprint backlog defines the scope of sprint 1. The team determines that they can work on 4 high priority stories: creating a website, developing description pages for Mary's most popular toys, creating a checkout page, building a smartphone app for mobile purchases. Once the sprint backlog is complete, the Scrum team starts working on the user stories. Every day during the sprint, Tammy convenes the daily stand-up, a quick meeting where everyone answers 3 questions. What did you do yesterday? What will you do today? What obstacles are impeding your progress? Tammy records all progress in the sprint backlog. As the team does their work, she updates and shares the sprint burndown graph with the team. This graph highlights the progress made in the sprint and how much work is remaining. When all the sprint's work has been completed, the Scrum team presents the first sprint's deliverables to Mary in the end of sprint review meeting. After reviewing everything, Mary, Rajesh, and the Scrum team all agree that the website is ready to go live. Mary's toy store is now online. Now that customers can shop on the internet, Mary and Rajesh talk to them in order to get feedback on their experiences. This information is used to identify new requirements for upcoming sprints. As final action of the sprint, Tammy conducts a sprint retrospective meeting with the Scrum team. Here they systematically evaluate what worked well and what did not during the sprint, identifying what can be improved in the future. The retrospective completes the sprint. After that meeting, Sprint 2 starts and consists of the same process: sprint planning, daily stand-up meetings, the end of sprint review, and concluding with the retrospective. As the sprints continue, the team iterates to quickly and continuously improve the website until both Mary and her customers are completely satisfied. Using Agile Scrum to build Mary's website provided several benefits. First of all, Mary's website went online quickly, right after Sprint 1. While it's not everything that Mary wants, at this early stage, the website is functional, and more importantly, making her money. Secondly, Agile Scrum lets Mary be more certain of what she's getting. Since Rajesh continually asked Mary what she thought of the site's progress, the end result was closer to what she needed. Lastly, because Agile focuses on delivering customer value, it increases company revenue. Customer feedback was rapidly gathered and used to improve the website in later sprints so that customers are happy and inspired to spend more money. All this time, Mary has been tracking the progress of the Agile project with her project management tool. It also shows the progress of Luke's work on the infrastructure upgrade project, which is managed in a traditional manner. Keeping track of both of these projects is a lot of work. Luckily, her management tool simplifies.
All right, so this was kind of an introduction of Agile framework. Okay, so any questions you guys have so far about like this Agile framework?
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. So I have a question that how can we decide the length of a particular sprint?
All right, that is very good question. So basically, just like the framework is organization-wide decided. It's not a team-level decision for length of sprint either. So traditionally, the sprint can be between,
2 to 4 weeks.
2 to 4 weeks. That is like basically traditionally sprint length. Okay. So, but again, this is organization decision. So organization will decide that, it will, what they are practicing. Either they are practicing 2 week or 4 week. But 80% of the organization who are doing Agile, they are doing 2 week sprint. Okay. And 2 week sprint means like sprint will be, 10 days. In 2 week working days are 10 days. So it is basically day 1. Okay. Then day 2, day 3.
Okay.
Day
So
4.
is it also depends on the length of project as well?
Day 10. Okay. All right. So rest question I will answer. Let me go over basically a role of a BA in Agile. Okay. So how we are already discussed how the BA does their work and prepare a business requirement document in waterfall traditional methodology. Now I will go when you work as a BA. You imagine you are hired as a BA and for the Mary store, and you will as an Agile BA, and you will be working with Mary or Rajesh as a Rajesh being product owner or expert in that like a retail industry. You will be working with the product owner to do your Agile BA stuff. Okay. So how you will do it, where you will start, and what is like available, when the organization has Agile way of doing it or Agile framework being implemented. So again, there will be definitely some, like in traditionally, there will be some documentation available for the that particular project. There will be some project request document or something there available, because the organization are still transforming from like waterfall to Agile, and most of the organization, they still have project development doing work in project methodology, like mentality, you can say, mindset, that they still have project mindset. But Agile is more towards like product mindset. So only those organizations which are kind of 10 year or older, 10 year or younger, basically, there you can see some environment which is like pure Agile, where you have basically like Agile implemented in a true Agile sense. Rest of the organization, which is 97% of the organization, they still have some pieces of work that is being done, like waterfall, and some part of the work that is being done like through agile. Okay, so that's why in that example where Mary infrastructure project, it was waterfall, and the other retail, like basically .com project was like through by agile. So there will be same thing happening everywhere almost. Okay, so then your what I was talking, your role as a BA in agile, where you start with. So you start with basically working as a same job description as you have in traditional. Your job is basically do the business analysis, and in waterfall you prepare like a BRD. Here you have to prepare first a wish list. Okay, wish list that will basically ends up into a high level requirement. We call them epic. Okay, there is a high level user stories, and user story is a way of documenting requirement in agile. Okay, so what you will do, you will sit with the Mary, and also like have Rajesh there and ask, okay Mary, what is the top 10 thing you want to see on your website? Okay, or what are the top 10 functionalities that you want to see? So Mary will have, okay, I want to see like all electronic toys that store on my website. Okay, electronic toys. She want to view all electronic toy on the website, so that she can sell those toys online. So that will be kind of epic for those electronic. And I want to see that people should be able to check out and pay money for those. Okay, she check out, that is another it should be for all the product that she is selling online. Okay, so that is another. So you will do that wish list of 10, 15, whatever the features that he want. Okay, so that will be the first basically high level user stories you will write. Okay, and then after that you will break down that user story, high level user story, into features. Like any independent functionality, that is like checkout is a one feature. Okay, and then you will have a list of features. That is the second thing, and the features are also being written in that particular way of how you write the requirement in form of user stories. Okay, so basic.
Hi Mohammed, order is epic, then feature, then user story, or as you said, first user story, then it will be a feature? I think first feature will be there. From epic we will drive features, and then from features we will drive the user stories. Even feature could be in form of user stories, but that will be higher level. Then we will again go to next level, then that will be user stories, requirement with the acceptance criteria.
That is totally right, and that's what I was coming from. So user story, what is user story? User story is basically like a way of stating a requirement. Okay, so it epic can be user story, feature will be written in a user story manner, and then detailed requirement will be written in user story like a way. Okay,
Mohammed.
so you
Yeah, so in my experience anyways, right?
This is just right now. Let me finish that thought first, and then I will ask you guys, because if I'm not finishing that thought, the questions are coming into your mind. I know that, but I will answer all those questions in my this thought, and then we will discuss that later. Will that be okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, all right. So the requirements I was talking about, that you as a BA, you start with the wish list. That is a high level requirement, and high level requirement we also call them epic. And from the epic, they are broken down into features. Okay, features are basically also linked. They are also high level requirement, but they are kind of next to Epic. Okay, so this is, and then the third features are being broken down into, you know, smallest independent functionalities. Okay, we call them like user stories too. And that is why the questions comes like, you know, okay, all right, so user story means like you know, when mostly people think that user story are basically like, you know, that smallest or unitary test table functionality. This is smallest testable functionality. That is that basically, yeah, the user story. So the third is basically you create a user story, and all that is happening, all this is happening in a artifact we call backlog. Okay, so the purpose of all these will comprises, and we will call this that artifact or document, okay, backlog or product backlog or product backlog. Okay, so user story is a way of writing the requirement that as a user, like whatever that you know, the role of a user, it's a persona basically, like, you know, as a persona, this is you know, what is the goal, like I want this, and what is the objective. So that is in one liner statement, we call it like user story. That as a user, this is what I want, and this is why I want. So what and why and the persona, that is a part of that statement, and that way of writing we call it user story. Okay, and then questions comes. Epic is also written in form of user story. It can be, it's like advised, recommended, so that you know, it there should be like a kind of a coherent. And then features are also in form of user story, then user story itself into form of user story. So what's the difference, right? What's the difference between Epic? So the main difference is basically, you know, the Epic is very high level requirement. It's, you can say, like 70,000 feet above the ground vision, and the features are high level requirement too, but it is like 40,000 above the ground vision. And then user story is a detailed requirement. It is like, you know, 100 feet above the ground vision, that detailed level, you know. And user story also have another part that we call like acceptance criteria. Okay, so what would be the so acceptance criteria is basically like, you know, verification statement, that as a user, this is what I want, and this is why I want. So we in acceptance criteria, we verify that basically that need of the user is being met. So we verify that the goal has been achieved, and we verify the objective, and we verify all those related things to deliver those goal and objectives. So all those system verification, or the user verification, or the verification from the business, all those are being documented in like as an acceptance criteria. Okay, so let's get back to, so your job when you work as a IT business analyst, your job is to work with the product owner and the stakeholders, and start creating the backlog. Okay, and what is the backlog? Backlog is basically list of user stories. Definition of the backlog is a list of user stories and epics and features. That is what the backlog is. And then Epic, already we talked about high level requirement, and the features are functionalities there to fulfill the epic. And then each feature will be broken down into maybe like a bunch of user stories, like maybe 10 user stories, depend on how much independently testable work needed to done to deliver those that feature. Okay, for example, like if it is like a checkout feature, so checkout feature, there will be a bank transaction linkage with that checkout too. The bank would be linked to the checkout cart. Then there is a verification that when somebody will buy, a transaction will happen, and that transaction will be from the buyer to the seller's account, and it would happen. That's a, so it can be divided into many different user stories, that everything will happen to deliver that features. Okay, so that is basically what the BA does. So who the BA will be working with, like for example, in last example, Mary and Rajesh, they will be two people the BA will be working with. So the BA will be doing the same job as a BA does with the the only thing would be there will be already identified stakeholder. Like in Waterfall, you have to identify the stakeholder, but here you have a product owner, and a product owner already know who are the stakeholders. So you might be end up like talking to just the product owner, and product owner then talking to Mary and other. Okay, you're just talking to the product owner and documenting all that requirements, and creating the backlog and managing the backlog to help the product owner. So your role in Agile, we also call it product owner proxy. Okay, so you do all the jobs that a product owner does, but you do not have authority to accept the work. Okay, so that is basically product owner proxy. So you are a product owner team in Agile framework when you're working under Scrum or Scaled Agile or whatever the other framework is. But the job is little different, as you have to prepare a huge document down there, and there can be like 15 stakeholder or 20 stakeholder. First you have to identify all those stakeholder. Here is a difference, that you have a product owner, and that's the main person who will be giving the requirement, because their product owner responsibility is to basically accept the work. Okay, but you might be also working with the other stakeholder that product owner is working, for example, Mary in this case. Okay, so this is basically your job, is to create user story, write user story, and then help the product owner manage the backlog. Okay, so this is basically your main job as a Agile BA. Okay, and then we heard about like the framework. There is multiple ceremonies happening when the team starts sprint is basically, what is the sprint? You need to understand what it is. Sprint is a kind of time box. Okay, so or we also call it this like sprint iteration too. So iteration or build, some companies, like if they are doing extreme programming or XP version of Agile. Okay, so this is 2 week. If it is 2 week, that means 10 days, day 1 to day 10. So there are 4 major ceremonies that is happening on the day 1. The major ceremony is sprint planning. That is almost half of the day of the sprint. In the start of the sprint planning, and in that sprint planning, they are basically picking the work out of the backlog and committing. The development team commits to that work, that they will deliver that. Okay, in the sprint planning. And then when they already have that commitment for that 10 days, they will be working. Maybe they will say, okay, all right, we will work on checkout feature or part of checkout feature, this part of in this sprint. Okay, so that means they will deliver that feature shippable ready in that sprint. Okay, so they will do all analysis, design, testing, ready user acceptances, everything will happen within that sprint. Okay, so day 1 planning, they committed it, and then day 2, day 3, up till day 10, every day, there is a 15-minute stand-up meeting, and you as a BA, you don't have any like particular task unless only because you are helping managing the product backlog. Any changes that is go into the product backlog, that's what you have to basically document it. Okay, and the rest you just sit back and enjoy the show. Basically, daily stand up, the team will Scrum Master and the team, they will work on that 3 questions that we went through the video, that what they have done yesterday, what they are doing today, and if there is any roadblock they are having. So all those would be for every morning from like 15-20 minutes stand up. And whenever the team finish some user story, they can do a demo. Okay, maybe day 2, day 3, day 4, whenever. And but at the end, the day 10, they will do a sprint review, means whatever they have developed throughout that sprint, they will give a demo over there. And you just like with the, so you are your kind of product owner proxy, so you are tagged with the product owner. Okay, so that you work with the product owner and help basically any change, any change that needed to be added into the backlog. So you are tracking and helping that with that as an agile BA. So day 10 sprint review, just your job is to kind of make sure what they have committed, that is being delivered. And if there is anything that you will see that might not be okay, then you have to kind of just bring that up to product owner attention, that hey, I'm not sure that if it is, but I feel like we might be missing this, or I'm not sure, but you can just to bring that to attention of the product owner. Okay, and other thing, UAT, basically user acceptance testing that you do with the product owner, means to review that what they committed to deliver, they have delivered that functionality. They said it is been, you test that functionality as a user perspective with the product owner. So then give the feedback to product owner, hey, I did the UAT and it's like working fine. Or if there is any problem, or you can mention it with the product. At the same, whenever they give demo, you do UAT whenever the story is ready. So if it is ready in day 4, so they said like we are deployed and it is like ready to be tested, you will just like go and test and give that thumbs up to product owner, hey, that user stories. So UAT, that is another task, user acceptance testing as a BA you are helping the product owner with. Okay, so before going further, now I will take up your question that about the user story. Anything so far?
I have question regarding the BA rules. You said like, as you said, like BA mostly interact with product owner because he is working as a proxy BA. But what I feel like, because even I am working as a product owner, proxy product owner. So apart from have some responsibilities toward our team. So if team have any kind of they need any kind of clarity in terms of requirement, we give those clarity to the team, like this requirement need this. So this is one thing we do apart from the working on the product backlog or user stories. And then before we going to the review, meanwhile whatever the requirements completed by the team, we review it before going for the final review or final demo. So we just validate before going to product owner, everything is fine. So these are the few things we do as a proxy product owner, apart from whatever you mentioned.
Right. So again, Raj, this is definitely that what you guys are doing. Again, it depends on organization to organization how their work is being set up. What I am mentioning, it is kind of more leaning towards the standard that what they should be doing. But again, within the organization, the way they're doing, so there are some overlapping of the task, or some tasks are being done by the product owner, and some tasks being assigned to the BA. And in a mature agile organization, BA role basically transformed into product owner. Okay, so
That's what I'm actually. If you go for real or agile mode, there is no business analyst role at all, because whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. So they have transformed into product owner. Okay.
Yes.
But there are still organization, I can say in US industry, I'm working over here, so I can talk about that. So still 70-75% of the organization, there is like agile BA role and opportunities are there. So yeah, definitely. But ultimately in agile, this role is being transformed into product owner.
Yeah, actually, the reason why they use proxy BA, because as you already mentioned, even I'm working with the US client, what happened, there are a product owner at a client place who is getting the requirement and whatever at product management level, whatever the activities are there, he is doing. But here in India, again, we have a team. So there is a time difference. So if someone needed any kind of help from product owner, he is not available because time zone is different. Being a proxy product owner, it's our responsibilities. If any kind of clarity they needed or whatever need they need from a product management team or product owner, so we represent them in India, and so whatever the queries the Scrum team have, so we sort out those issues or whatever the queries they have.
Right. Yeah. So that's understandable.
Mohammed, if I may interrupt.
Sure, Sonia.
Yeah, I agree with Raj. So, even I work with the Australian client, and we have, the time difference, and we work in different time zone. And it does happen that we work with, the development team and help them understand if there are any, if they need any clarity, basically on the functional requirement and all those things. And also, there's one more role, for Agile, I have seen recently coming up, though the business analyst role is kind of vanishing for Agile, but we are seeing, as Raj said, something like a proxy product owner. Along with that, we are also taking up the role of a Scrum Master. So, it is a collaboration of everything that you are working with the Agile methodology.
Actually, at the moment, I'm doing the same thing. I'm working as a Scrum Master. At the same time, I'm working as a
Yeah,
proxy
even me.
Okay.
Yeah. So
You are
if
from
I may,
HCL?
Yes,
So-
I'm from HCL.
Okay, then fine.
Mohammed, can I interrupt?
Yeah, sure. So we have Rahul. So Rahul is a senior business system analyst, and he, so this the guy.
5 different hats.
Right. So he is like a wearing multiple hats. So wearing the multiple hats, it's kind of very normal in like Indian scenario, basically, like or offshore scenario, when they had like the Australian company have some offshore, so their offshore always like end up wearing multiple hats. So that's very understandable. And even in onshore, there are companies where you get the opportunity to wear multiple hats. So what we are focusing for today's training, only focusing on business analyst and agile business analyst. Okay, so yeah, so there are like other trainings too, like Scrum Master and all those other, but as a like principally, that is what we are focusing. So now Rahul, you can add what you want to.
Yeah, so I can't. I mean, I used to work with the offshore team from here, but so two pieces, you guys. There's two pieces, right? There's the client and the vendor side, correct? Usually, and on my side, I being the client, I represent all the requirements that were gathered from my team. And I've worked as a proxy product owner, and I give those requirements, prioritize the backlog with my subject matter expert and my PO, and we send those requirements to Accenture offshore. We have a vendor called Itron. I work in the utility industry, so we send those requirements, and over there they have Accenture team lead or a Scrum Master, and then there's BA. One role does all over there. So they handle that side, and I handle here. So in the middle of the night or anything, basically I'm the liaison that transfers all the information between the dev team to the business owners, stakeholders, and the PO. So I work all both sides.
Okay, so that's like again, this is wearing multiple hats. That is normal, and if you have the skill set, and that's what basically organization nowadays, during COVID and post COVID, they love to have people who can wear multiple hats because of that funding constraint, and we are seeing this pattern onshore in the US too. Before that, it was not like that, but right now it's kind of I cannot say like 100%. Or even 50%, but you can say 10 to 15, 20% of opportunities that are coming, they look somebody who has can work as a business analyst and can also work as a product owner and maybe have some experience
QA, everything.
Right, a system analysis too. So,
system analysis, QA.
Right. So they're just trying to. That's based on basically funding. They're just trying to kind of get maximum out of but as a standard there are some big organizations and not only big mid-level to big organization, they're still hiring as like agile BA and in that particular role only. Okay, and they only expect that that's what you perform. Okay, but offshore definitely it's like the more you have the better it is. Okay, so that
yeah. Mohammed,
what I feel like it depends upon the size of the organization and the size of the project. Like, see, we all are wearing multiple hats based on the size of the project we are dealing. If it is a multi-billion-dollar project, then you cannot expect a single person to wear multiple hats. It varies from project to project. That is my personal opinion.
Right, exactly. That's totally like totally. That's I agree with that. Yep. So that's right. So anything or any other question?
Yeah, just one question.
Yes,
yeah, hi, this is Amrish. So my question is very basic, like looking at the topic. So we discussed about the traditional mode of BA and the agile mode of BA, right? And we started discussing about like BA will start managing the product backlog as well as user story. So I heard you mentioned the project will start with a start date and it will say end date. And within that period, we need to derive the number of sprints required to complete the project work. Right, Mohammed?
So that in some sense it is right, but usually like so say there are maybe 10 features that needed to be developed. Okay, so there would be an estimate from that like the leadership side, IT leadership and other, they will give like an estimate that probably we will complete that in 10 sprints or something like that. So there would be like some timeline associated with that too, but again that would be estimate. So estimate means that can change when the team actually start working on. If they have estimate 15 sprint, it might end up 10 sprint, it might end up 20. Yeah,
right, Mohammed. I'm coming to that. I mean, basically the agile framework starts with the sprint planning, estimation, and the sprint work will start. Then all the members of the agile team, we can call it as a agile project we're running from sprint 0 or MVP, whatever it is. But my question is, before the sprint starts, right, we should have the product backlog ready. So that again falls in which mode of framework? Is it the traditional way of gathering the requirement?
So that's very good question you asked. So I missed that part basically. So when we can start sprinting, that is basically the question. Okay, so
Yes.
how much the product backlog should be ready before the team will start sprint? Okay,
Right.
so that is basically the question. So definitely when you're working as a BA, so first you prepare the wish list, that is a high level requirement. You started writing features. When you have started creating from features to user stories, okay, so we should have at least 2 to 3 worth sprint of work for the team to start the sprinting. That is kind of a thumb rule, that they will have at least 2 to 3 worth sprint of work already groomed. We call it the groomed. So there is a right. So there's a meeting that called grooming meeting, which you are also like, that is outside of the sprint meeting, but that is a regular event that is happening. So what is the grooming? Grooming is basically when you take up the user story and whole sprint team, they will basically, go over that, or that is called basically grooming. So let's like, so
Mohammed, I have
you will see.
I have bit a different view about like whatever you said about
to quickly.
Yeah, the backlog. Sorry. So the backlog grooming. So let me finish the thought and then we can discuss that.
Okay.
This backlog grooming, this is a continuous activity. So this is basically, all this will happen in 10 days. So what you are looking at, this is the 10 days activities. Day 1, sprint planning and team starts work. Okay. Day, so they will basically pick up the work from the backlog, and they will bring that work physically from the backlog into sprint, and we call that sprint backlog. Okay, so basically if they said, look, we will deliver this feature, like checkout feature in this sprint that they committed, so all the user stories for that checkout feature, they will take up out of the backlog and bring into a new backlog that is called sprint backlog. That means the backlog of that particular sprint. Okay, so sprint planning is to build that. What is the purpose of sprint planning? To build that sprint backlog. Okay, and then from day 2 to day 10, all those other events will happen. But each sprint there will be 4-hour worth of backlog grooming. And in the backlog grooming, what is happening? The team and the Scrum Master, BA, all are sitting together and going over user story by user story. Okay, so the purpose of the backlog grooming, what is the purpose of backlog grooming? First purpose is so the team will understand what the functionality is. If they have, the development team have any questions, they can ask. The second purpose.
Mohammed, sorry to interrupt. So we are going little more into the backlog grooming. My question is basically, so backlog grooming, right? We are calling it as a agile BA. And even though the sprint 1 or 0 has started, the stories are already available for the team to plan and do the grooming before picking up for development work.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So when we call it like a agile BA, and we should know like what are the features are ready. So that is again falling into the traditional way of talking to users, getting the requirement. I mean, the way we are developing, that could be agile. I totally agree, 100% is. But coming to BA, like the requirements are already known, right? Before going to
can
the
I
studio
can I
level.
answer Mohammed this question?
So let me quickly take up, and you can add after that. Okay, if I will leave anything. So your question that when what would be the BA that is already been job that already been done, and how much backlog will already been ready before the team will start sprint. So that is the question. Is that
No, Mohammed. That's not my question. My question is, we call it like agile BA, so that we are following the agile framework, right? Or agile methodology for the project.
Right.
But before starting the development work, right, we are expecting the user stories to be available in the product backlog, and that need to be followed for the grooming before the development starts. But to reach to product backlog, the BA has to identify who are the stakeholders and collect the requirements, what are their needs, then they will start writing in forms of epic stories to make the customer journey success, right? So my point is like that phase where it doesn't sit in any of the sprint activity.
So definitely, that's I got it. So basically, that will sit in the backlog. So in the first thing is like, in traditional, let me like repeat it. In traditional, there are multiple stakeholder. You have another task of stakeholder analysis or identifying right stakeholder in traditional methodology. In agile, that is not the case. You already have identified a product owner, which is a part of your team. Basically, product owner is a part of your team, and mostly product owner is the person who is giving the requirement, or helping the write the story. Your job as a BA to work with the product owner and write down that epics, features, and user stories. That is like your job. Sometime product owner, if he don't have the answer, or he is not like expert on that, he wants you to also meet with Mary or some stakeholder. You can do that too, and it will get more kind of traditional, because if the product owner is not doing his job, then there will be like another pathway that you will be talking to the stakeholder. But ideally, or as a standard, there will be just one product owner who you will be talking and writing these user stories. And backlog is for the whole product. That is just everything that you will write, every user story that will sit in that backlog, product backlog for that project, or for that whole product. Okay. And then the next question that I would like understood that you might be asking, that how much work should already be ready before the start of a sprint. So ideally, you should have epic there, you should have features like written, and you should have all the business user stories and acceptance criteria there in the product backlog. So that before you will start with the team, you should have that. Okay, so that when sprints 0 start, we can do extensive grooming for 2 to 3 sprints worth of work. Okay, so that is the usual way. So now you can add someone said like they want to add to this question.
Yeah, actually, first of all, see, when we start any agile project, so it doesn't mean like we are coming like we don't have anything in terms of requirement. Before we start our sprints, we have a discovery phase. So in discovery phase, whatever the higher level of requirements are there, we should know, like because until we don't know about those requirements, we can't initiate a project. So high level of requirement, at very high level we have, and before starting of any sprint, we have a 0 sprint. So whenever we have product backlog, it doesn't mean if 100 features we have or 50 epics we have, we need to write all the epics or we need to write all the user story. It's what you call it, incremental way. So we keep adding requirements, we keep adding user story, we keep adding epics. And meanwhile, we find out business we don't want this epic. So that meanwhile, we can remove those user stories or epics. So it's continued process. It's not like at initial stages, we are going to start with 100 user stories. It should be there. It's not like that. Maybe we start with 5 user story. By gradually 5 become 20, 25, maybe in couple of sprint, maybe 4 sprint, 6 sprint. So it will take them time. So it doesn't, we can't say like the initial stages of sprint, we will have all the user story. So it will be built gradually, product backlog. It's not that you will get all the requirements.
Right. And that's why we have a continuous like backlog grooming meeting that, throughout the sprint. The purpose of that meeting is to first the team will understand that what the stories are, okay, what the work is, and they will understand what is the requirement basically. And if they have any question, the other purpose is because the product owner or the business side, the BA, they just wrote down the business needs. Okay, there might be some technical needs too. There might be some infrastructure needs too. Okay, so when you do the backlog grooming, those user stories that is related to infrastructure or some technical or maybe some discovery they have to do, maybe some design spike they have to do. So those also will be logged with those features and user stories during the backlog grooming. So that should that is the purpose of backlog grooming, and extensively doing it in the sprint 0, so that, and this process will go on. And again, there might be some features that business said, like before, when they start they think they need it, but as in one, after 2-3 sprint, they think, okay, all right, we can, this feature is not of high priority anymore, so we don't need this, we might need that. Okay, that can happen.
Sorry to interrupt. Also, as a part of Sprint 0, when we have the project SOW defined, with Sprint 0, we usually go for MVP. That is the minimum viable product, wherein we give the high level features to get to kickstart the project. So that is also very much part of the Sprint 0. So from that time onwards, we start grooming the product backlog, and that will in a way help to just get started.
All right, yeah, that's totally right. So okay,
and also I have a query. I wanted to know your thoughts on scope creep, and how do you manage in your project, or have you come across any challenges for this?
Okay, scope creep. So define scope creep. What do you mean by when you say like a scope creep?
So scope creep is something that part of requirement, you have missed it out, and when the development has started, you do not have the scope defined for that particular requirement, and it gets it gets out of scope on what exactly have to be developed, and it is not in your acceptance criteria defined.
Okay, so that ideally, when there is any change happen, there is a story, user story can be logged into the backlog for that particular. Okay, and this is the beauty of working in Agile, that we have a time box, 2 weeks. If anything happen, we can fix it in the next sprint. Okay, but
that is change requirement, right? As a part of CR, it comes as a part of CR, right?
Exactly.
But in the current sprint, if you have any such creep across the scope, and how do you manage that,
right,
other than CR?
Exactly. So as a BA, again, we are focusing the role of a BA. We are not focusing the role of a developer. Developer manages that differently. Scrum Master manages that differently according to their role. So your role, and product owner manages the differently. So you are a product owner team. Okay, and as a product owner, your interest is to push the pressure, to put the pressure on the team. Whatever they do, I need this within that sprint. Okay, that is the mindset of the product owner, and you are in the product owner team, and you are basically like with the product owner, because you're not making any decision or anything. Your job as a BA, if any scope creep happens or any change happen, you put that notes in that particular user story whenever the discussion is happening, maybe like in daily stand-up or in some meeting. So you make sure that all those comments, what they are discussing about that scope creep, is being logged under that user story in notes section. Okay,
that's something missed by us, right? The product owner, since in the Agile we do not have different as a BA and a product owner differently. We are basically the proxy product owners. Then it's a miss from our side, right? Then how do you define that?
Okay, all right. So again, as a BA, you first task you will do, you will log those notes. After that, it doesn't matter it's missed from the product owner side or how it got missed, it really doesn't matter. But those notes will end up creating a whatever the team will decide. So you are not part of that discussion. You're just a listener down there, and more like a scribe down there. Okay, helping the product owner. So if the team and the Scrum Master and the team negotiate with the product owner that was missed and we cannot deliver in this, and then those notes that you have written down, that will end up in adding another user story. And to manage that scope creep or whatever happen, a new user story needed to be logged. And then questions comes like, will the team will pick that user story in that sprint or next sprint? It depends on that, negotiation, what happens between product owner and the team. If they can do it, that would be the objective of a product owner, that they will do it within that. Even the scope creep happen due to product owner or whatever the reason, they will do. That is a mentality of the product owner, and that should be like a mentality of product they will do within that sprint. But if somehow they cannot, they can have a logical reason, then the product owner don't have to insist. They can, okay, all right, then we can do that in the next sprint. Depends on the, again, there are multiple variables, depend on the critical element or priority of that particular item, depends on that. But mostly it can be taken up, ideally it should be taken up in a next sprint if any changes happen and the team don't have capacity to adjust within that sprint. That should go to next sprint as a user story. So hopefully that I answered your question.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, actually, there is no terminology scope creep in Agile. Scope
Yeah, exactly. It
Yeah.
can be new requirement. It should be written as a new requirement.
Yeah, because it's part of waterfall. Because here, if you miss some requirement, accept that, and you can reach to team and product owner, and you can write new user story and acceptance criteria basis on those requirements.
Right, Raj. I was just trying to give like the based on the actual scenario, because the teams are still transforming, they are still using that terminology and all that, how it will fit and how in actual real world scenario it fits. So that's what I was make points.
Yeah, you rightly said we need to log a new user story.
Right.
Yeah.
So any other question before I will go further? So this basically, like, I'm in US, if you're working, or if in India, Australia, and so mostly like certifications are available, and for like to verify that you have that knowledge. And there is like we work with the Agile Institute. Agile Institute basically sponsor our training. So they have Agile Business Analyst certification too. So what we have discussed, if we have that knowledge, so you would be able to kind of pass that certification. So you have to, if you are interested, you go and basically like take exam and get certified, and that you can basically put into your profile. So that is basically the last thing that we have. Agile certifications. So Sadi is basically with the Agile Institute, so she is the coordinator. So if you have any question about like taking that training and all that, or any discount they are offering, so Sadi is the right person to ask. But with this knowledge that we have covered today, you would have enough knowledge to basically, the purpose was to give you kind of a overview that if you are starting as a BA, you will have something, some knowledge and some practical, basically like knowledge to start with. Where to start and what to do. Okay, and hopefully I was able to like give you some of that idea. If that would be that is a kind of the success criteria for me to take this training. And definitely the other thing that I can definitely, if you have listened this carefully and you understood what we have discussed, you would be able to pass this exam in like very easily. So
I have a question. I'm sorry to interrupt here. I'm a newbie. Okay, most of the people who have worked in Scrum or either use Scrum methodology, Agile basically. So I'm somebody who's sort of I've read things about Scrum, Agile. I've been trying to get my hands on it. I want to understand something, that how practically we can. See, I understand passing certifications and everything. It's cool. It looks good, but end of the day, we need to make sure that we apply those concepts and those methodologies in real time as well. But is there any way we can work around that? And because I understand that you need experience for that, but somehow we'd like to go through case studies that we can is there any way, is there any material that we can go through, or videos that may basically applying those concepts and the principles or the methodologies that we use in Agile? So is there any way we can do that? I mean, is somebody
I would love to answer that question. So I'm glad you asked that. So I've been working as a coach and training, almost like now eight plus years. So I have trained, with the clients. I have raised basically new teams, trained them to work on the project, and also trained kind of hundreds of BAs and like a Scrum Master, product owners, and all that. So I can certainly safely answer this question. If you are a new, so first thing you need to understand the things you can go and review, or so you will understand some of that. There's a concept of getting used to with the things. Okay, for example, what we have discussed today as a BA, if somebody has done work as a BA, their level of understanding will be they were very clear what we are talking about. Okay, but if you haven't worked for you probably took 10, maybe 20 to 30% out of this meeting. So the tip is this: if you will the training is being recorded, so listen this watch this training for maybe 20 times. Okay, so it will give you each time there will be a new question that will come. Hey, why they are talking about this? Okay, and then answer that question. Basically, go find that answer. I will not.
Yeah, like I said, no, so, but like I said, see, Agile Scrum certification and Scrum Master certification, all that I have, no worries. Those things you just learn, practice, and done. Like I said, getting the certification is no big deal. Getting it, okay. I've been doing certifications every day, almost every day. But point I wanted to make here is I'm not able to use that. So first thing first. I wanted something, to see what, I mean, most of the people talked about here, their experience from it, right? Because they've experienced it, they've been doing it. So when they're asking questions about the technical terms and everything, I understand. Okay, what's a product backlog? What's the user story? Because I've done one thing I did was I worked on Jira to create user stories. Okay, basically to create epic everything. So I did from the case study. And that's something which is very relevant. I understood everything. Okay, why I'm doing and what I'm doing. I understand the why we are using Scrum, or why what methodology. Why when the Agile, what happens in a product owner or developer option, everything. I understand those technical terms and what their role is in the system and everything. Because I've been doing a lot of readings. But again, those are not practically implemented, right, by me. See, I believe in practical exposure more than written. So, for example, if I'm taking a PMP, all I need to do is 35 PDUs. I did that. Just switched it on, left it again. But when I did the Google project management, I was doing more practical work. You understand? So there, I was actually doing some assignments or some projects. So it helped me more than the PMP training itself.
I got your question.
Yeah, hands-on experience I'm talking about.
Right. I got your question, Rakesh. So definitely, I understood what you were talking about. But for this training, the scope of this training to give an overview and the basic idea, and that knowledge that you will help you basically pass the certification. That was the scope of this training. And with your question, I can ask you to you need more kind of practical examples and project examples and all that. So contact Sadi. They have some other training program too, where they have what you are looking. Okay,
sure. But really thankful to you. I mean, it was really helpful actually.
Right. And the other questions that usually ask that how I can get that feel. So mostly I don't recommend that going around and reading a lot. Okay, I don't recommend that, and there's a reason for that. because there is the information and the knowledge is like that's so vast. There is, if you will want to gather them in book, there are hundreds and hundreds of book, and each have a different idea, and mostly it like let you stray more than it guide towards the right direction. Okay, so with that said, like what we discussed today, it was more kind of the real world scenario, the practical knowledge. Basically, my examples were, when I was talking, I was putting you and making you think that you are a BA and you are working, what you will do. Okay, giving you idea, putting you in the scenario, in the situation where you like kind of feel like that, okay, you are working, what you go now, if you are working, where to start with, that type of like the same thing we discussed is more practical knowledge. If you will listen this like video like 10-15 times, your kind of time with this like information or discussion will be more. You would understand more when you will read anything. So that's what I was making that point. But anyway, thank you very much everybody for joining. We are already like up to the time. And if anybody is interested in certification, get contact with Sadi. And I enjoyed conversation, and hopefully I would be would have been able to help somebody today. So
Mohammed, can I ask last question before we wind up, please?
Sure.
Okay. First of all, thank you so much for sharing this information. Just last question, like from Agile BA mindset perspective, like I will consider both BA and product owner will be same. Like you mentioned, SAFe, Agile, Scrum, and different methodology. So will there be any difference for a product owner or BA for different types of Agile framework, or everything will be similar for a BA perspective or product owner perspective?
So when we talked today, only we focused on like Scrum. So Scrum is a team level. Okay, so Scrum one team independently working, and they are delivering that product. Okay, that is
a product owner and BA perspective. I'm not asking about a team perspective. For only for a product owner or being a BA, will there be any difference for different frameworks available in Agile, be it SAFe, be it Scrum, XP, Kanban, whatever it is?
Yeah, definitely. I got your question, and that's what I was coming from. But I was trying to build like a little like background so everybody will understand. So yes, there will be a difference. There will be additional tasks that the product owner or the Agile BA have to do if they are working in scaled Agile environment, environment. So yes, so that is the answer to you. So to have other people understand that answer. So scaled Agile, when multiple Agile teams, multiple Scrum teams, they are working together to build one product. Okay, so now you consider that the team, like the team members in Agile team, there are multiple Agile teams, and there is a one big Agile team out make of 7 to 9 Agile team. We call that Agile release train. Okay, so idea is just like we put 7 team on a train which we call Agile release train, and they build that project. Okay, each will have the work the same way as they do we discussed, but there will be kind of a 5 sprint program level, like a sprint, we call it PI. Okay, so that is like basically like the idea of working in scaled Agile environment. And yes, to your question, the product owner role for the team within a team as a Scrum team, one Scrum team, and then working with the other teams will be a little different. Then what would be the difference then? Because you will be negotiating with other product owners, like if there are 10 features, who will be doing, you will be kind of syncing up that, hey, you are doing this, we have a dependency, you will be looking more towards dependencies too, that you have a dependency, I will do this, get my team to work on this feature number 5 in first sprint, because you need feature number 6 to dependent on feature number 5. Okay, so you have to negotiate with the other teams. That is the additional task of a product owner. or the agile BA, they are working in the scaled agile. So basically you need to help the team to basically sync up with other teams, that when they need to take that work, in which sprint and why they need to, and how to manage dependencies. So you help with that. Hopefully it made sense to you.
Yeah,
Mohammed?
got it. Thanks.
Hello,
Thank you so much for clarifying this.
Hello, Mohammed.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, will you provide any certification post to this training, like right now?
So
those who have attended the training, something like that.
Right. So for that, there is a free certification also available. There is like a agile basic
We have already.
Yeah,
Okay.
ABC. I think before joining this, we need to clear that ABC certificate.
Right. So that is the free certification. You would be able to pass that. But we do not have any other certification except agile certified.
I'm Mohammed. I mean, I cleared that. I don't think these guys will have any problem at all.
Mohammed, I have one query. Like this
Basic
certification, may I?
Sure, go ahead.
Mohammed, I have a issue with this thing. Without giving an attempt, it is showing that I have failed because I haven't attempted only. I just got, I was looking for a mail and I'm finding it error and I'm unable to even send a mail to the contact person even. Can you please help me out with that?
Yes,
Definitely.
exactly. I too face the same issue.
Please contact Sadi with that. She is the there's Abiha and Sadi. I said both are on the the call, so they will be in contact you. They are the basically support person from the agile side, and definitely they would be able to help. There is some issues going on with the team is fixing the software. That what I heard, but they would be able to help. Okay.
Can they share their email IDs or can they drop an email so that we can further go ahead and contact with them?
Actually, I have sent an email to Sadia and it bounced back.
Okay, so Sari, if you can give your email, put that in the chat box. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Sadia,
Someone is doing it.
Sadia, so if you guys can do that, that'll be very helpful. Put that in the chat box, and yeah. So any with the agile perspective or that the certification perspective, you can ask the question to Sari and Abiha. That is over here, so they would be able to help.
Mohammed, I have a question regarding the sprint review.
Sure.
Yeah. So the thing is, let's say there is a high priority user story for a particular sprint, and during the sprint review, the implementation what has been done, there is a big change which has to happen to that implementation. So how will it be taken care actually?
So I am not sure, but I understood your question correctly. But what I understood, let me answer based on that. So you need to understand the sprint review is basically a demo that happens on day 10 of sprint, which will recap all the functionality that is being built within that sprint. So in that demo, there will be product owner or customer feedback. If the product owner had basically invited some customer, there will be a feedback from there. And if they discover there is some something needed to be added, so the ideal thing is as a agile BA, you note it down, and the product owner has to take basically shot on it and add a new user story for that. Okay, if there is something new, they discover that they need to implement that too. But if what is being implemented, if that is totally changed, then it's like a problem for excuse me, the product owner to because the product owner is working with the team for whole 10 days. Okay, so whenever the team is developing, they are giving a demo to the product owner, and if the product owner is not able to catch up with that or not able to understood, and it leads to final demo and then saying, hey, this is not what I asked, then there is a failure of product owner too, as well as like mostly it's failure of product owner.
So,
Okay.
so
Then the team.
usually, why I asked that question is because usually for us the sprint demo happens at the end of the sprint. So in the middle also, we don't, even if the user stories are done, we don't give any sprint demo. We do it as a tester. I give it at the end of the sprint. Okay, so we have that meeting or the say the demo always at the end of the sprint. So we never give any demo in the mid of the sprint.
So that is the problem.
Jasdeep, if I may interrupt. Yeah, so one thing what we do in our project, we have an intermediate demo defined every for every sprint. If we have a sprint of 4 weeks, so every 2 weeks we have an intermediate demo to understand the progress of it. I hope it helps.
All right. So
Yeah.
Jesse,
So there's what Mohammed quickly.
So let me quickly answer with the at standard agile practices perspective. So Jasdeep, the problem in this situation is whenever the user story is ready, you should the tester should schedule a quick meeting, maybe like 5 minutes. Yeah, hey, this is ready and we have tested, so that product owner or the agile BA, they can go ahead and do the user acceptance testing. As a tester, you should whenever it is ready. So that should be the standard practice. What in that scenario that you guys are doing, that is basically like it's morally kind of waterfalling agile, we say it, when you put everything towards the end, because on the day 10 you are seeking the customer feedback, the product owner feedback. Day 10 you are seeking when you are giving the whole demo. So the agile you guys are doing, it's like there's a problem with that. So there, as a standard, whenever the user story is done, testing is done, the tester should schedule a quick demo with the product owner and the BA and give them, hey, this is ready and this is how it is working. Okay.
Yeah.
So if
So
you
Mohammed,
don't do it, then that will happen the exact scenario. So this is the practice I'm advising that you guys should like adopt that practice. Yes,
so
Rahul.
yeah, so it's like a verbal commitment / written commitment for each team is different, right? So you guys have before the actual sprint 0 or starts, you define a definition of done. Okay, what is it? What would define the sprint to be complete? All the number one, we'll have a mid-sprint review as well as a final sprint review. All the requirements are, all the user stories are documented with the clear acceptance criteria. They should be, small, valuable. You should be able to estimate the stories, all those kind of things, right? There are verbal and written commitments within the team before you even start.
Right. So, all right, Sadia, I will be leaving. I have a hard stop right now. So you guys can continue. Rahul, if you have time, you guys can continue discussion. It was a very nice meeting you all, and hope I have helped today somebody.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have to go too. So, all right, thank you.
So, just wanted to put a thought here. So if anybody would want to network, and we can all connect together on LinkedIn. So if anybody wants to connect with me, my name on LinkedIn is Sanya Sheikh, and I'll be happy to connect with anyone here. Thank you.
Can you share your LinkedIn link?
I'm not sure if I can, but let me try.
Okay, guys, anybody wants to contact me, I've provided my contact number as well as email ID. So just if anybody has any problem, you can just mail me or call me anytime, okay?
Sadia, I have just dropped you an email regarding that concern, that certification thing. Please have a review. I have dropped to you and Titi Abia even.
Yeah, did you logged in into the Agile?
Yeah.
Can you please provide me your user ID and password? I just on the same email ID.
You need
Just
password?
yeah, like I will share my LinkedIn account. You can message me there also.
That would be really great. Let me check.
Yeah, just
Where's the LinkedIn account? Where it is mentioned? I could not find it. Sorry.
sharing my LinkedIn account. Yeah, just give me a second.
And can you please share the link of that certification, like from where we can perform the exam and download the certification?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
This is my LinkedIn account.
If we are using it from an Android phone, I'm not able to see the chat. Can you please help me?
Please repeat. You are not audible.
I was saying that if I am using it from an Android app, I'm not able to see the chat section of it. Can you please help me with that?
Yeah, you're using Android. You're using it actually on your phone, right?
Right.
You can see the chat box.
I don't see it.
Seeing more.
Yeah. And I see in the more it is a speaker and a flip and screen share. That's it.
Okay. Let me just. Can you just give me your email ID so that I can share the.
Yes, please. It is Sania, SANIYA.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
SANIYA.
.SHAI.
Yeah.
KH.
Yeah.
572 @gmail.com.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Sadia, just one thing to add on. Sorry.
Yeah.
I just saw that the email which I have sent to you and Abia, it has not been delivered. It is stating that it's an error.
No, sir.
Domain error.
I just got your mail.
You got it, but I don't know how it is showing error. Sorry. It's in the name of Karan.
Yeah, I received your mail.
Okay. Can you revert me in that mail? So I will share the needful. I will do the needful, please. Sure.
Anybody having any question?
Can I get the recording of this session?
Yeah.
All like email IDs of yours. Once the
video will be uploaded on YouTube, I will share the link of the video. Okay. Maybe
Okay.
tomorrow.
Okay. Can you tell me the name of the YouTube channel?
It's Agile Institute. I will just share that also.
Can you repeat it, please, once again?
Yeah, I will share the link. Wait a second.
The exam is a multiple choice question, right?
Yeah, right.
For 1 hour or so?
Yeah, it's for 1 hour.
Is the certification valid for is it supposed to be renewed every 2 years, 3 years or something, or it's a one-time certificate?
It's like one-time certification, sir.
Okay. And for the BA course, apart from the content what we got shared in this discussion, is there any other material which we need to study for that?
No, sir.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
Okay. So by tomorrow, you will get the recording of this meeting, of this training actually. And if anybody have any problem regarding certification, you please feel free to contact me on my email ID or my cell number. Okay.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay.